The Odyssey by Homer, translated by Robert Fagles, read by Mr. Belson. Book 23, The Great Rooted Bed. Up to the rooms the old nurse clambered, chuckling all the way, to tell her queen her husband was here now, home at last. Her knees bustling, feet shuffling over each other, till hovering at her mistress's head, she spoke. "Penelope, child, wake up and see for yourself with your own eyes. All you dreamed of all your days. He's here, Odysseus, he's come home at long last. He's killed the suitors, swaggering young brutes who plagued his house, wolfed his cattle down, rode roughshod over his son." "Dear old nurse," wary Penelope replied, "the gods have made you mad. They have that power, putting lunacy into the clearest head around, or setting a half-wit on the path to sense. They've unhinged you, and you were once so sane. Why do you mock me? Haven't I wept enough? Telling such wild stories, interrupting my sleep, sweet sleep that held me, sealed my eyes just now. Not once have I slept so soundly since the day Odysseus sailed away to see that cursed city. Destroy, I call it. I hate to say its name. No, now down you go, back to your own quarters. If any other woman of mine had come to me, rousing me out of sleep with such a tale, I'd have her bundled back to her room in pain. It's only your gray head that spares that." "Never!" the fond old nurse kept pressing on. "Dear child, I'd never mock you. No, it's all true. He's here. Odysseus, he's come home, just as I tell you. He's the stranger they all manhandled in the hall. Telemachus knew he was here for days and days, but he knew enough to hide his father's plans so he could pay those vipers back in kind." Penelope's heart burst in joy. She leapt from bed, her eyes streaming tears. She hugged the old nurse and cried out with an eager, winging word, "Please, dear one, give me the whole story. If he's really home again, just as you tell me, how did he get those shameless suitors in his clutches? Single-handed, braving an army always cramped inside?" "I have no idea," the devoted nurse replied. "I didn't see it. I didn't ask. All I heard was the choking groans of men cut down in blood. We crouched in terror, a dark nook of our quarters, all of us locked tight behind those snug doors, till your boy Telemachus came and called me out. His father rushed him there to do just that, and then I found Odysseus in the thick of slaughtered corpses. There he stood, and all around him, over the beaten floor, the bodies sprawled in heaps, lying one on another. How it would have thrilled your heart to see him, splattered with bloody filth, a lion with his kill. And now they're all stacked at the courtyard gates. He's lit a roaring fire. He's purifying the house with cleansing fumes, and he sent me here to bring you back to him. Follow me down. So now, after all the years of grief, you too can embark, loving hearts, along the road to joy. Look, your dreams, put off so long, come true at last. He's back alive, come home at his hearth, and found you. Found his son still here, and all those suitors who did him wrong, he's paid him back. He has, right in his own house." "Hush, dear woman," guarded Penelope cautioned her at once. "Don't laugh. Don't cry in triumph. Not yet. You know how welcome the sight of him would be in all of the house, and to me most of all, and the son we bore together. But the story can't be true. Not as you tell it. No, it must be a god who's killed our brazen friends, up in arms at their outrage, heartbreaking crimes. They'd no regard for any man on earth, good or bad, who chanced to come their way. So, thanks to their reckless work, they die their deaths. Odysseus? Far from Achaea now, he's lost all hope of coming home. He's lost and gone himself." "Child," the devoted old nurse protested, "what nonsense you let slip through your teeth. Here's your husband, warming his hands at his own hearth here, and you say he'll never come home again, always the soul of trust. All right, this too. I'll give you a sign, a proof that's plain as day. That scar, made years ago by a boar's white tusk, I spotted the scar myself when I washed his feet. And I tried to tell you, but he, the crafty rascal, clamped his hand on my mouth. I couldn't say a word. Follow me down now. I'll stake my life on it, and if I am lying to you, kill me with 1,000 knives of pain. Dear old nurse, composed, Penelope responded. Deep as you are, my friend, you'll find it hard to plumb the plans of the everlasting gods. All the same, let's go and join my son so I can see the suitors lying dead and see the one who killed them. With that thought, Penelope started down from her lofty room, her heart in turmoil, torn. Should she keep her distance, probe her husband, or rush up to the man at once and kiss his head and cling to both his hands? As soon as she stepped across the stone threshold, slipping in, she took a seat at the closest wall and, radiant in the firelight, faced Odysseus now. There he sat, leaning against the great central column, eyes fixed on the ground, waiting, poised for whatever words his hardy wife might say when she caught sight of him. A long while she sat in silence. Numbing wonder filled her heart as her eyes explored his face. One moment he seemed Odysseus, to the life. The next, no, he was not the man she knew. A huddled mass of rags was all she saw. "Oh, mother!" Telemachus reproached her. "Cruel mother! You with your hard heart! Why do you spurn my father so? Why don't you sit beside him, engage him, ask him questions? What other wife could have a spirit so unbending, holding back from her husband home at last for her, after bearing 20 years of brutal struggle? Your heart was always harder than a rock." "My child," Penelope, well aware, explained, "I'm stunned with wonder, powerless. Cannot speak to him, ask him questions, look him in the eyes. But if he is truly Odysseus, home at last, make no mistake, we two will know each other even better. We two have secret signs, known to us but hidden from the world." Odysseus, long enduring, broke into a smile and turned to his son with pointed, winging words. "Leave your mother here in the hall to test me as she will. She soon will know me better. Now, because I am filthy, wear such grimy rags, she spurns me. Your mother still can't bring herself to believe I am her husband. But you and I, put heads together. What's our best defense? When someone kills a lone man in the realm who leaves behind him no great band of avengers, still the killer flees. Goodbye to kin and country. But we brought down the best of the island's princes, the pillars of Ithaca. Weigh it well, I urge you." "Look to it all yourself now, father," his son deferred at once. "You are the best on earth, they say, when it comes to mapping tactics. No one, no mortal man can touch you there. But we're behind you, heart intent on battle. Nor do I think you'll find us short on courage long as our strength will last." "Then here's our plan," the master of tactics said. "I think it's best. First, go and wash, and pull fresh tunics on, and tell the maids in the hall to dress well too. And let the inspired bard take up his ringing lyre, and lead off for us all a dance so full of heart, and whatever hearts and strains outside the gates, a passer-by on the road, a neighbor round about, will think it's a wedding feast that's underway. No news of the suitor's death must spread through town till we have slipped away to our own estates, our orchard green with trees. There we'll see what winning strategy Zeus will hand us then." They hung on his words, and moved to orders smartly. First they washed and pulled fresh tunics on. The women arrayed themselves. The inspired bard struck up his resounding lyre, and stirred in all a desire for dance and song. The lovely lilting beat, till the great house echoed round to the measured tread of dancing men in motion, women sashed and lithe. And whoever heard the strains outside would say, "A miracle! Someone's married the queen at last!" One of her 100 suitors, "That callous woman too faithless to keep her lord and master's house to the bitter end," till he came sailing home. So they'd say, blind to what had happened. The great-hearted Odysseus was home again at last. The maid Eurynome bathed him, rubbed him down with oil, and drew around him a royal cape and choice tunic too. And Athena crowned the man with beauty, head to foot, made him taller to all eyes, his build more massive, yes, and down from his brow the great goddess ran his curls like thick hyacinth clusters full of blooms. As a master craftsman washes gold over beaten silver, a man, the god of fire and Queen Athena, trained in every fine technique, and finishes off his latest effort. Handsome work. So she lavished splendor over his head and shoulders now. He stepped from his bath, glistening like a god, and back he went to the seat that he had left and facing his wife declared, "Strange woman, so hard, the gods of Olympus made you harder than any other woman in the world. What other wife could have a spirit so unbending? Holding back from her husband home at last for her, after bearing 20 years of brutal struggle. Come, nurse, make me a bed. I'll sleep alone. She has a heart of iron in her breast." "Strange man," wary Penelope said, "I'm not so proud, so scornful, nor am I overwhelmed by your quick change. You look, how well I know, the way he looked setting sail from Ithaca years ago aboard the long-oared ship. Come, Euryclea, move the sturdy bedstead out of our bridal chamber. That room the master built with his own hands. Take it out now, sturdy bed that it is, and spread it deep with fleece, blankets, and lustrous throws to keep him warm." Putting her husband to the proof. But Odysseus blazed up in fury, lashing out at his loyal wife. "Woman, your words, they cut me to the core. Who could move my bed? Impossible task, even for some skilled craftsman, unless a god came down in person, quick to lend a hand, lifted it out with ease and moved it elsewhere. Not a man on earth, not even at peak strength, would find it easy to prise it up and shift it. No, a great sign, a hallmark lies in its construction. I know. I built it myself. No one else." There was a branching olive tree inside our court, grown to its full prime, like a bowl, like a column, thick set. Around it I built my bedroom, finished off the walls with good tight stonework, roofed it over soundly and added doors, hung well and snugly wedged. Then I lopped the leafy crown of the olive, clean cutting the stump bare from roots up, planning it around with a bronze smoothing adze. I had the skill. I shaped it plumb to the line to make my bedpost, bored the holes it needed with an auger. Working from there, I built my bed start to finish. I gave it ivory inlays, gold and silver fittings, wove the straps across it, oxhide gleaming red. There's our secret sign, I tell you, our life story. Does the bed, my lady, still stand planted firm? I don't know. Or has someone chopped away that olive trunk and hauled our bedstead off? Living proof. Penelope felt her knees go slack, her heart surrender. Recognizing the strong, clear signs Odysseus offered, she dissolved in tears, rushed to Odysseus, flung her arms around his neck, and kissed his head and cried out, "Odysseus, don't flare up at me now, not you, always the most understanding man alive. The gods, it was the gods who sent us sorrow. They grudged us both a life in each other's arms, from the heady zest of youth to the stoop of old age. But don't fault me, angry with me now because I failed at the first glimpse to greet you, hold you so. In my heart of hearts I always cringed with fear some fraud might come, beguile me with his talk. The world is so full of the sort. Cunning ones who plot their own dark ends. Remember Helen of Argos, Zeus's daughter. Would she have sported so in a stranger's bed, if she had dreamed that Achaea's sons were doomed to fight and die to bring her home again? Some god spurred her to do her shameless work. Not till then did her mind conceive that madness, blinding madness, had caused her anguish. ours as well. But now, since you have revealed such overwhelming proof, the secret sign of our bed, which no one has ever seen but you and I and a single handmaid, Actorus, the servant my father gave me when I came, who kept the doors of our room you built so well. You've conquered my heart at last.